I wanted to punish my husband by making him jealous, but he left and broke me completely.
I tried to pay back my husband by making him jealous. Instead, he left and ruined my life. The things we sometimes do just to prove a point or make our partners jealous, all in the name of revenge, will shock you. Sometimes it works, but other partners don't tolerate rubbish. Instead of doing what you have expected them to do, they just decide to leave and make sure that you live your life suffering. I sometimes call that karma. Some things are better left as they are because you actually don't know the outcome of them. It's so sad that I chose to do a childish and careless act just to make my husband jealous. You know the phrase that says, "Let bygones be bygones." I should have used it. So I, F27, fell in love with this fine, charming, and sexy guy at my 25th birthday party. Well, he was my big brother's friend. He was invited by him to my party. I remember when my brother first came with him to our house to finish some work. I knew my brother was not a saint. Police officers used to come home to look for him. I didn't know what he was doing that made police officers come to our house looking for him. But surely it was something illegal, but I didn't care much because it was not affecting me in any way. I loved my brother very much, but what he was doing, legal or illegal, was not what I cared about. As long as he came home in one piece, I was more than happy. We lived with our parents. It was just me and my brother from my mother. Then father had 7 more children, which he didn't raise. My father's children are sweet, but some are evil. I think the evilness was caused by my father being absent in their lives. I don't know. We are just being punished for our parents' sins. That's how unfair life is. Okay, let me cut with the boring part of my family. Let me continue to tell you about my husband. So as I have mentioned that he was my brother's friend, their friendship got ruined after my brother had found out that we were dating. It somehow ended, but they kept on being civil just for my sake, I think. So my brother had his own room outside our home. You know, black parents, or must I say Zulu parents, or even male children believe that when they grow up or think they are old enough, they have to move to an outside building so that they can have their own privacy. My brother was a womanizer, he loved women a lot, and he used to change them to a point that his behavior created a soul. He had 5 children from different mothers. I wondered if he was not scared of sickness, because nowadays everyone has their own sickness, and he was busy spreading his semen everywhere. One day, my mother had asked me to go and call my brother in his room and tell him that the food was ready. I knocked and got in after he had given me the permission to enter. When I got in, I saw his friend. He introduced him as Sifundo, M32, which is a Zulu name that means lesson. I was a bubbly girl, so I introduced myself also and extended my hand to him for a handshake. The handshake lasted for minutes because I didn't want to let go of his soft hand until my brother brought me back to earth by clearing his throat and warned me that his friend was older than me and I should go and give Mom a feedback that he was coming. Since that day, I couldn't stop dreaming and being fascinated about my brother's friend. I thought it was just a crazy and lame crush that would end any time, but no, it wasn't. You know when they say you can find love at first sight? That was me. I fell in love with the guy at first sight. Crazy, right? Days passed, I couldn't stop thinking about the guy. I ended up acting all PI on my brother, asking him about his friend just to get a little more information about him, but I got nothing. Until when I heard my mother asking my brother what was his connection with the Zuma boy. That's when I got his surname and went to search for him on social media, but I didn't find him, which was a bummer. Weeks passed and my 25th birthday arrived. That time I was working at the petrol station around Pinetown, where we were staying. It was not an ideal job, but I had to do what a girl had to do to be independent and make some cash. We can't always expect our parents to provide for us even when we have the privilege to stand on our own and be independent. My father didn't like the idea of me working at a petrol station. He would say it's not safe for a girl to work at a petrol station because I would have to work night shifts. Those shifts were not safe because a lot happens in petrol stations. What he was saying was true, but I didn't want to be a daddy's girl and expect to get everything on a silver platter. I had to work for my own pocket, and it was not the job I wanted to spend a lot of time in. It was just to get that little weekly salary and save to start my own business without my parents' help. Yes, my parents had money, but they were not rich. They worked very hard for their money. I also wanted to make my own money. On the day of my 25th birthday party, all I wanted was to spend time with my family, as we have always done. It was either we went out on the weekend away or just went to any restaurant to celebrate and spend time as a family. I didn't know that my brother and my mom had planned a surprise party for me. That day, my brother was the one who suggested that we went out. I thought maybe my parents were going to be busy since my father was a traffic cop officer, so his job was demanding, especially during weekends and holidays. But I was grateful for every minute he spent with me on my birthdays. My mother was a lawyer, so you see how their jobs were demanding and kept them busy most of the time. After my brother and I were done with our outing, we went back home. When we got home, I was surprised by the cars that were in our yard. Our extended family members didn't just visit unless there was a ceremony or my father was hosting something and invited them. I was happy and grateful to my parents. I found out that my brother was the one who came up with the idea of hosting a party for me for a change. I wouldn't trade him for nothing. I loved and still love my brother so much. Sun had set, some relatives were out of it, and some were dancing to the music that was playing. The fine caramel guy came to me and wished me a happy birthday. I was not expecting him to be in my party, but he was my brother's friend, so it shouldn't have been a surprise. He even bought me a birthday gift, imagine. I was charmed by his gentleman's gesture. He asked me on the side, so I obliged and went with him to a quieter place. He started complimenting me and told me that he didn't know I was 25 and I looked young for a 25-year-old, as if he had asked. My heart was doing the dance, because I was with my crush, and he complimented my beauty, not knowing that I had lurked a very dangerous demon in my life. That time, Sifundo was 29, and he was going to turn 30 the following month. He invited me to his birthday bride, but I declined the invitation because I had thought my brother would also be at that party since they were friends. A month passed, he kept coming to our house looking for my brother. Well, that was what he had said, but I knew who he was looking for. One day he gained strength to ask for my numbers, and I gave him without hesitation. We started talking from there. He was not just fine and sexy, but he was funny too. We got close, started going out. Secretly, of course, because I didn't want my brother or my parents to find out that I was spending time with my brother's friend. We were what they call friends with benefits. I would sneak out at home and go to his house to spend the night with him, not knowing that I am putting myself in a deadly trap. But love makes you do unthinkable things, right? I remember the day I had sneaked out at home to go and spend the weekend with Sifundo. And well, it was his birthday weekend, so he had asked me to spend the weekend with him. So I sneaked out at home. The funny thing is that I went out wearing a gown so that if I bump into my mother, since she was not a heavy sleeper and she loved making coffee at night when she is working on a case, I would be able to tell a lie. So I tiptoed till I had reached the door, and I went out not knowing that my mother heard the door closing. That weekend, my father was working night shifts, so I had a chance to go out thinking that my mother was sleeping. Mind you, that evening I had left my bed looking like there was someone sleeping. I had gently put the pillows under the blanket, took a small teddy and covered it with my wig so that if someone got in my room, they would think I was sleeping. When I reached outside with success, I jumped off the fence and went to Sifundo's car. The plan was not to stay with him the whole weekend, but I would be spending nights with him on that weekend. When I got into his car, I took off my gown because I was going to his birthday braai. I had everything covered under my sleeping gown. I was wearing an outfit that I thought would blow his mind. We had a great night. He introduced me to his other friends. Some were with their girlfriends who kept giving me nasty looks, but I didn't care about them. I was there for my man, so they were a non-factor to me. Till today, I still don't understand the hate or jealousy that ladies have for each other, especially when they see each other at parties. Can anyone tell me why ladies are like that, or this only happens with South African ladies? I don't know what comes into a woman's mind when they see another woman coming to a party with her man. Some exclude themselves and sit in other areas as a group and keep throwing daggers at the new girl. I'm still failing to understand that, especially during house parties. Most ladies get along with each other or start loosening up when the alcohol has kicked in the system. Some would start complimenting you. Some would tell you information that you didn't ask for. Sifundo and I left the party early and went to his crib. Some were not really pleased that he was leaving early, especially when they had hosted a party braai to celebrate his birthday with him. At 4 a.m., he drove me back home. I had asked him to take me back home early because I didn't want my father to come back from work and see that I wasn't in bed. My father treated me like a child. I think it's because I was the only girl he had. His other 6 children were males, which made me the only princess he had. When I got into my room, I couldn't believe what I had found. I thought I was careful enough and made sure that no one suspected that I was not home. I found my mother sleeping in my bed. My teddy and pillows were on the floor. I swear I wished the earth would swallow me there and then. I wanted to turn and go back to my man's house. My mother was not used to sleeping on my bed or with me unless she had an unsettling feeling or had a scary dream and my father was not home. I didn't think I would find her that day, and I was in deep shot. I opted to turn and go to sleep on the couch. At least if she found me sleeping on the couch, she would think I dozed off there, but my plan didn't work because as soon as I started tiptoeing back to the lounge, she called my name. I knew there and then that my ancestors had forsaken me. I was in trouble. I thought she was going to shout at me, but she just told me to get in bed and sleep. We would speak when the sun rose. I did as told. When I got to bed, I slept like a person who was high on drugs or drank a lot of booze because I woke up in the afternoon. I was woken up in the afternoon by my father because he was thinking that maybe I was sick. I am not a heavy sleeper. I usually wake up early, maximum time being 9 a.m., so it was not usual for my father to sleep till 12 or in the afternoon. My mother came into my room right after my father left. As expected, she gave me an earful. The worst part, she had seen me sneaking out to see the segundo. I then knew that I was in trouble, but I couldn't care less because I loved the guy and I was old enough to make my own decisions. Despite my mother's disapproval, I continued seeing my man. A few months after we had formalized our relationship, he told me that he had told my brother about us. I won't lie, I was angry at him because I was not ready for my brother to know about our relationship, especially since I was dating his friend. And I knew he would also disapprove of the relationship. As much as I loved my man, but he had no right to go and tell my brother, I wanted him to know when I was the one telling him. You know, males tend to think differently, especially when their friends date their baby sisters. Mind you, my brother had given me an earful about Segundo and asked me not to start any connection with him, even if it would be an innocent friendship. So Segundo telling my brother about us would have made my brother think I was disrespecting him, and Segundo would be gloating about our relationship to him. Or maybe he was gloating, but I was so caught up in a love nest to see things from my brother's perspective. Since then, my relationship with my brother changed. He felt like I had disrespected him because I went ahead and got in a relationship with the same man he warned and asked me not to have any relation with. On the other hand, my mother was angry at me for being in a relationship with Segundo. She even asked me to end the relationship or she would tell my father. I sometimes don't understand African parents. They like choosing who we fall in love with, forgetting that when the heart has decided that it wants or loves this person, no matter how bad she is, you can't go against it. It controls you after all. Even though mine chose my worst nightmare unknowingly. Months passed. I was still head over heels with the man. I was untouchable. I didn't even listen to my family. I was too deep in it. Even when my brother tried talking to me, I decided to just end our relationship because I thought he wanted to control me and my love life. I turned my back on my family for a man, not knowing that I had dug my own grave. I was a fool, right? My father no longer treated me as his princess. He was angry at me and my decisions, even when he and my brother told me the darkest side of Segundo and his shenanigans. I didn't listen. It was like I was possessed or controlled by him. My mother even suggested that we went to a spiritually gifted person to lift out the spell that he had given me. I was what they called a gone girl. I didn't need anyone's validation or permission to be with my man. I tried asking him about who he really was because we had never gone into a deeper conversation about our lives and future goals. The only answer he gave me was, "You don't want to know the real me, but you will find out when the time is right." I didn't understand why he would say that because he knew everything about my family. But I knew nothing about his family. I had thought he was living in his family's back room, but I found out that he was actually renting the back room. When I asked him about it, he told me to stop worrying about things that do not concern me and continue being a good girlfriend, not his mother or lawyer in a courtroom. I let everything slide and moved on from it and continued doing my girlfriend duties. People kept giving me warnings about how bad and dangerous my man was, but I didn't bother myself to listen to them. I thought people were just jealous of our relationship. A year later, I got pregnant. After we had found out that I was expecting his firstborn child, he decided to go home and show his respect. He paid damages and my dowry bride price. In our culture, it is believed that when a man has entered a father's cradle, started being intimate with the girl, and impregnated the girl, that boy man has to pay the damages for inserting his private part to a girl's private part and planting a seed. I was happy that he was showing respect to my family and taking responsibility for his unborn child. I was finally becoming what I had been fantasizing about when he was still my crush. I had dreamt of him making me his wife, expanding our family, and building our family's empire together. I should have known that whatever I dreamt about was not actually a dream, but a nightmare. My family gave him, or must I say his uncles, a hard time. My father and brother didn't want to accept the money, saying it was blood money. It actually took me to threaten my family to disown them and go live with Sifundo if they do not accept the money. I didn't want to hear anything they were saying about my man. That was the biggest mistake I have ever made. Time passed, and my tummy got heavier. That time he had bought a new house, so I moved in with him because according to him, I was already his wife since he had paid for my bride price. Most of the time I was alone in the house, mind you. I had quitted my job because he told me that he won't be in a relationship with the petrol attendant. My foolishness and blindness resigned at work. I had put all my trust in him. The money I had saved to start my own business, I gave it to him when he told me that his car wash and joint businesses were in jeopardy of being closed down because his liquor license and business permit had expired. So as a good, loving, and supportive wife-fiancé that I was, I withdrew all my savings and gave it to him to save his businesses. He said he would pay it back, but I didn't want him to pay me back because he was my man. And I thought it was my duty as his woman to make sure that my man and household are well taken care of. His businesses continued running, and he started acting weird around me. It was like he was hiding something from me because when I asked if he was okay, he would dismiss me and say it's work issues, I shouldn't worry myself much about it. Whatever it was that he was hiding from me, I also dismissed it for the sake of my unborn child. He started going out a lot. When I raised the issue, he would lie and say the businesses were busy, so he had to assist wherever he could because his staff was short. I thought maybe he was talking about the joint because it was the only business he had that closed at midnight. The car wash was closing at 19 hours p.m., so I wouldn't be the car wash that had kept him until late. His behavior got worse each and every day. I started questioning myself if he was cheating on me while I was pregnant with his child. The thoughts were running wild to a point that I gathered some courage and confronted him. Well, more like asking him if he was cheating on me while I was sitting in the house pregnant with his child. You wouldn't believe the answer he gave me. He actually confessed that he was cheating and he had found someone who was more beautiful and respectful than me. I thought he was drunk, but no. Everything he spitted, he meant every word because he was sober as a judge. I thought he was joking, or he would tell me that he was just pulling my leg, but instead he just left the house after he had spit nonsense to me. He came back the following day and acted like everything was fine. He didn't even bother apologizing. The foolish and naive me forgave him even though I didn't get any apology, but I couldn't stay angry at him. I mean, he was my man. I thought maybe he was under work pressure. That's why he said what he had said. I couldn't stay angry at him. I loved him, and I trusted him. I had lost all contact with my family because they didn't approve of my relationship with Sifundo, so for the sake of my newly found family, I cut all ties. My father was so disappointed in me. I know he had big wishes and dreams for his only daughter, but my heart fell for someone who I thought would be my savior, my soulmate. That time I missed my family so much. I had no one to talk to about what I was facing. I was all alone, the guy was controlling, but I didn't see that because I was caught up in the nest of love. I ignored all the signs and red flags that he was showing. I should have acted earlier and left him. I remember this one time when he came back home drunk. He found me on a call with a lady that I was working with at a petrol station. He grabbed my phone and smashed it on the wall. I was confused and scared by his outburst. I couldn't understand why he would snatch my phone and throw it on the wall without saying anything. Do you think I should have left or be patient with him because I loved the man? What do you think I should have done? Things escalated to a point where he slapped me. I couldn't believe it. He had said some horrible things to me, but he had never laid a hand on me. That whole week I was not okay, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. I should have left that day when he slapped me. He accused me of cheating, saying that I had the nerve to talk to another man when I saw him coming in. A week after, I lost our child due to the stress I had. Again, he accused me of being a murderer. He said I had killed his child. Those words destroyed my heart. I have had enough. I was tired of the mistreatment. I believed that my man was bewitched. Maybe he was given a love potion by a woman who wanted to get in between us. I wanted to fight for my man, my marriage. I went to a traditional healer to consult about my issue and find out what was going on, and to find a solution to my household problems. When I arrived at the traditional healer's consultation room, the first thing he told me was, "That man that you are willing to fight for is gone. He is no longer yours, and he will be your downfall." I couldn't sit and listen to the healer anymore because he didn't know what was happening in my heart. He didn't and wouldn't understand how much my heart longed for my husband. I missed him. I missed the old him, so I was not going to just sit back and let another woman take him. Was I a fool by trying to fix my marriage? I had to think of the way to get his attention and make him love me just like always. I thought since I had lost the baby, he would come back to his senses and we would get closer again. I mean, we both lost our unborn, so he had to come back home so that we could heal together. But instead, it was like it drove him away more than before. Did he even love me? A month passed. He was coming home, and I was still doing my wifely duties. The mistreatment had stopped, or must I say, had taken a break, because the only thing he came home for was the food I had cooked for him and sleeping with me. I was more like a booty call and a maid to him. So one weekend, he did something unexpected and shocking. He came home late that night. I had already fallen asleep. I heard noises coming from another room since our house was a 3-room house. I woke up to check where the noise was coming, and to find out that the sounds were coming from the guest room. I opened it to check who was in the room. When I got in, I found him making love to some woman. I didn't know what to do. I was shocked, shuddered, and heartbroken, to a point that I hysterically cried. I left the room immediately after he heard that I was in the room. The buster didn't even bother to follow me. I thought about what the traditional healer had told me, but I couldn't leave him without a fight. That was when I thought of revenge. I wanted to make him jealous so maybe he would recognize his mistakes and come back to me. I cried till I had no tears left in me. I became bitter, angry, and out for blood. I wanted him to feel the pain he had put me through. I wanted him to get a taste of his own medicine. So I continued being a good, submissive wife. I was the biggest fool of them all, but I was a shame in a women's generation. I know that, but what would I have done? What would you do if you were in my shoes? One day I called the girl that I was working with at the petrol station and asked her to meet up with me at McDonald's in town, which she agreed to. We got closer. I told her about my marriage, not about what I was going through, because I didn't fully trust her. I wanted some destruction, and she was a great destruction. Bianca, the girl from my previous work, was a free-spirited and outgoing person, so I was going to use her to get the revenge I needed. We started going out, and she introduced me to a few of her friends. Well, she stayed in a township called Savannah Park, which was far from where my husband and I were staying. We became friends. She would come to my house to fetch me, saying I should release some tension because it didn't look good on me. We started going out a lot. Well, she loved shopping, so whenever she was not working or on her payday, she would ask me to accompany her to Pavilion Mall, which was based in Westville, for shopping. Spending time with her was doing me good. I even forgot about my house problems for a few hours. As Bianca and I went out a lot, my husband once came home and the house was empty. That fueled him because when I came back, he slapped me again, calling me a slut and that I went out with other men while he worked very hard to provide for my useless self. His words no longer mattered to me because I was used to them. There was this day when I decided to be home and be a good wife. My husband came back very early that day, and he was on the phone speaking to whoever he was speaking to. I didn't know what he was planning, but I heard him confirming some plans. After he was done with his call, he told me to get ready. We were going out and I should look beautiful. A fool would think he was slowly coming back, but he had planned the worst thing that would change your life. I went with the flow and prepared for the night ahead. I wore the dress that I had bought, hoping to fix things with him. I wanted to surprise him with his favorite at dinner, but that didn't happen. The night came. Sifundo was in a happy mood that made me suspicious because he hadn't been happy well around me. When we got to this private location, there were a lot of people. I knew some of them from his birthday braai. The night went on very well until he asked the DJ to stop the music, which got me more confused because I didn't know why I was invited to a party that I didn't know about. And what was he going to say since he stopped the music? He started by introducing me as his wife. He then went on with his speech. What shocked me to a core was when he called some lady in front. He started by thanking her. I didn't know what was going on, and it seemed like I was the only one in the dark. As I was confused about what was going on, I saw him getting down on his knees, asking this lady to make him the happiest man alive. My knees got weak in an instant, mind you. I came with him to the party. I had no way to go. So I remained at the proposal party of my husband and his fiancée. I couldn't take it anymore, so I went outside to catch my breath. One of his friends came to me and asked if I was okay. The only thing I did was crying my eyes out. I started having flashbacks of the day when he told me that he was cheating and the lady was more respectful than I was. The husband's friend was a gentleman enough to offer me a lift home. I got home and smashed everything that was in front of me. I was hurt. I had thought there was still a chance for us, for our love. I guess I was no longer the girl he loved, or he never loved me. I mean, the guy surely knew that I had a crush on him, so he took that to his advantage to destroy my life. The friend called the following day to check up on me. Time went on, the guy kept calling. I was slowly getting back to myself and accepting the situation, so the guy and I got close. We then started having a fling. I won't lie and say I didn't sleep with the guy because I did. It was a moment of weakness, and he was there, so I went with the flow. The guy caught feelings somehow, and he wanted us to take our fling on another level. I didn't understand him because a fling was supposed to be a secret, not knowing that the guy was actually there to destroy my life along with his friend. My husband found out about the fling. I don't know how he did, but I was sure that his friend had spilled the beans. Weeks passed, and I was in the house going through the omnibus of my favorite telenovelas called The Queen and the River when I heard a knock, and it was police officers. They were looking for my husband. I told them that I didn't know where he was because he was no longer coming to the house. My parents and brother had warned me about Sifundo, but I didn't listen, and the karma was catching on me. One lazy day, I got a call from Bianca telling me to check my social media. When I asked why I must do that, she told me to find out for myself. At that time, I was in the middle of starting my traditional fast food business and trying to get sponsors. So I logged on, and the first thing that I saw was a video, and most people that I was following were sharing and commenting about it. I opened the video, and to my surprise, it was my video with my husband's friend being intimate. My tongue got dry in an instant. I also saw that the person who had posted the video was Sifundo Zuma, my so-called husband. I felt like I was losing breath, so I called Bianca and asked her to come to my house. My heart was beating abnormally, and the next thing I don't remember what happened because I woke in the hospital bed, with drips and oxygen covering my mouth. The meaning of his name became a true meaning. He was my lesson, the one I'll never forget about. The video was the first thing that came back to my mind when I woke up. I felt like I was suffocating. I had just started fixing my life, and the person I once loved destroyed my life. I lost the sponsor that I had got. I lost customers. My life was no longer the same. I wanted to just... My father came to see me after everything I had said to them. I was ashamed to look at him, but he took me back home. Even though things were no longer the same as before, I was willing to work on my relationship with my family. I thought I was just making him pay for hurting me. Instead, he left me and destroyed my life. What have I done wrong to be punished like this? Please advise me. Dear Redditors, there's nothing more painful than watching the home you fought hard to build being broken by your own partner. Sure, I am not a saint, but I did not expect my wife to throw away our 30 long years of relationship just because she wanted to feel young again. It's always easier to destroy things, but it's never easy to build them up. I still don't understand how 3 decades worth of dedication was broken in just a few weeks. My name is Paul, and I'm a 50 years old man who is married to Florence, a 49 years old woman. Florence and I met when we were in college, and we just hit it off immediately. We dated for 5 years and have been married for 25 years. We literally just celebrated our 25 years anniversary last weekend. I know you all are wondering why I'm writing this message when we just had a huge 25 years anniversary celebration. Well, my wife has decided to make decisions that are only breaking our marriage. She's cheating on me and I know it. I know it because I have caught her in the act many times. I just don't know why this is happening to me or why she is doing it. It does not make sense. She does not know that I know yet, and that is only because I am taking my time to process what she did. I'll be needing advice from Reddit as I try to get to the bottom of this. I could just let her know now and end our marriage, but it's not that easy. 30 years of being with one person is not something you can just throw away. The man she is cheating on me with is young. Yes, he's very young. He should be at least 20 years younger than her. I'm certain if I had knocked her up when we were in college, she would have been able to give birth to his age mate. I'm disgusted by just thinking about it. The fact that our anniversary was just a few days ago makes me wonder if this whole thing has been going on long before our anniversary. My wife now sings in the shower and wears makeup. Listen, I'm not against makeup, and I've never been against it. She can wear it if she wants, but I don't understand why she's suddenly wearing it after stopping for years. I mean, at first I thought she was just trying to experiment her youth all over again, but then I realized that she was wearing makeup to go see her new lover. I caught her sneaking out of the house many times in the night. I'd wake up and she'd be nowhere to be found in the house. I'm frustrated because I want to say something, but I just can't right now. I need to be patient to know my next steps. So far, I know she's cheating with a younger man and I know his name. I also know that she sneaked out of the house at night and came back at dawn. This is vital information I'd need when I finally want to catch her in the act. I'm not going to let her ruin our marriage without facing the consequences. I'm going to keep you guys updated every single chance I get. Please let me know the next steps I should take. Update, I'm super grateful to everyone that has taken their time to let me know what I should do. I've seen some very vital advice that I do not take for granted at all. Now let me let you all know what has been going on during these past few days. My wife has not stopped seeing her lover, and things have intensified between them. She doesn't even try to hide the relationship. It's almost like she wants me to know she's cheating or she likes the adrenaline she's getting from it. Yesterday we were having dinner, and then she asked me what I thought about oral sex. I was shocked and confused at the same time. I did not expect her to ask me such a question. My wife and I have never engaged in oral sex before, so I did not expect her to tell me one of her favorite sex activities is oral sex. I saw how she smiled and continued eating after she asked the question. She definitely wanted to get a reaction out of me, so I ignored her and continued eating my dinner. In the evening yesterday, she was in the shower moaning out loud. When I say she was moaning, I mean it. It was not a painful moan, it was sexual. I heard it loud and clear, and it was not just once. It kept recurring again and again. I even had to leave the room because I got annoyed. Some of you might ask why I did not go to the shower and see why my wife was moaning. That's because I already knew why she was moaning. I heard her talking to someone and I was sure it was a phone call because her phone was not in the bedroom. My wife was definitely calling her lover yesterday. The way she's disrespecting our marriage is very disgusting. She's not hiding any of it, and that's how I know that my wife must have been cheating on me for a very long time. Just like you all advised in the comments section, I'm going to try my best to catch her in the act by following her one of these days. If that does not work, I'll definitely confront her and see what kind of excuse she comes up with. I heard her over the phone planning a date with him. I think she's going to be sneaking out of the house tonight. I'm definitely going to see what she's up to. Before I forget, some of you asked if we have children. Yes, we do. We have 2 children, a boy and a girl. They are both in college now. That's all for today, guys. Expect another update soon. Update. My dear Redditors, I did as I promised and followed my wife out 2 nights ago. I think I made a very big mistake by following her because what I saw was very devastating. That night, I had to pretend I was asleep before she left the house. She got dressed in a very revealing outfit, then she wore a coat over it and left the house. I got dressed after she left too and decided to go on foot. I don't have an exotic car. I have a truck. It's old and rusty, and I'm 100% confident that if I'd taken that truck, I would have woken the whole neighborhood. It was hard to keep up with my wife on foot, and at some point, I lost her. I did not see her on the road again, so I got confused on where to go. It took time, but I was able to find out where she was. She called a taxi and left, so I had to call a taxi too. My taxi followed hers for almost 10 minutes, and it was exhausting. She finally stopped at what seemed like a secluded neighborhood. I was worried for a minute because the neighborhood looked suspicious. I did not imagine that my wife chose a gangster as her boyfriend. I'd never seen him up close, but from the neighborhood we stopped at that night, I knew he had to be some young guy in a gang or something. My wife was not worried for her safety at all. She strolled into the neighborhood like she had lived there all her life. At that moment, I believed that my wife must have been under a spell. Yes, I know how delusional that sounds, but what do you expect me to say? I did not like the neighborhood or the sight of my wife greeting the neighbors like they were longtime friends. I felt disrespected and jealous. I'm still jealous even as I write this. Florence got into a particular house that was almost secluded from the rest. I had to hide behind a tree for a long time, waiting for her to come out. I hoped she would come out fast because, dear Redditors, I was in a very suspicious neighborhood. At that moment, I knew that if I was seen spying on my wife in a neighborhood she was very familiar with, I could have been beaten up. I did not trust my wife not to have me killed. She was already cheating on me, so I did not trust her at all. After almost an hour of waiting, she left the house with the man I'd seen her with before. They were smiling happily and his hands were wrapped around her shoulders. I will be very honest, he is a good-looking man. He has strong muscles and very good teeth. He was also very touchy with her. He was touching almost all parts of her body at once as he whispered something into her ear. I watched as my wife blushed and practically snuggled her head on his shoulders. I was disgusted by how shameless my wife was. She did not even care to check if anyone was watching them. They acted like they were the only ones in the world. I felt like taking up a stone and throwing it at them. Rude. I know, but no one wants to see the woman they are married to blushing and snuggling up to a younger man like she was still in high school. I even began to suspect that my wife was stealing from me. Yes, I had every reason to suspect that. There could be a higher possibility that she was giving money to her new lover. The guy looked like a stripper who lost his way in life. Don't judge my ability to judge him. If you found your wife cheating on you, you definitely understand what I feel right now. I get what might have tempted her. He's young and all, but he looked like a bad idea. He had good looks, but I swear he looked like a criminal. Yes, Reddit, you read that right. I'm judging him. I'm fucking judging him. They were just touching, but it almost felt like I was watching porn. My wife grabbed his neck and kissed him. She kissed him slowly and passionately. I feel disgusted even writing this, and I have wished to unsee everything I saw that night. I waited for them to finish that night, so I could finally go because I had seen enough, but it did not end there. The young-looking criminal guy gripped my wife's ass like the fool he was. My stupid wife did not try to stop him. She leaned into his touch and smiled from ear to ear. I was fucking pissed. The fact that my wife and I had sex the night before and she was doing that with no conscience at all made me very disgusted. The stupid guy grabbed her hands, then whispered something in her ear again. My wife nodded her head, and then they went back inside. I don't think I need to read my faith to know what they sent back inside to do. I was already full, so I turned around and headed back for the road. I almost got caught by two guys who were sitting around smoking. They stopped me and asked who I was and what I was doing there. I had to lie that I was a delivery man who came to deliver pizza. I practically ran from there that night. When I got home, I could barely contain the anger I felt. All because of my wife, I had to lie to claim I was a delivery man. Not once in my life did I imagine myself sneaking after my wife at night. My dear Redditors, do you see how fucked up this whole thing is? I don't even know what to do. Imagine the amount of anger and annoyance I feel right now. That night, I almost broke our wedding picture and threw it out. I wanted to pack my wife's belongings outside the house at that very moment. I practically watched her sexually interact with another man. I was there, and I watched it live and direct. I don't need any facts or investigation. I don't need any evidence. I saw it with my own eyes. There's nothing my wife could say that would validate any of what she did. It was not her being drunk, and it was not a one-time thing. For her to know the neighbors in that neighborhood, it had to have been going on for a very long time. She has been cheating on me way before our anniversary. I don't need to have any evidence at all. That night, I made sure I thought of a plan before my wife came back home. I wanted to find out more about her cheating and why she was doing it. The betrayal I felt was very bad. I was practically heartbroken because of what I saw. My wife and I have been married for too long. She should have thought about that before doing what she did. When my wife came home in the morning, I was tempted to ask her where she had been. I was so close to confronting her, but I had to control myself. I did not want to confront her, then have her lead in my face or try to defend her actions. I have seen many movies of how cheaters turn everything around. This was not a movie, but I did not want to underestimate my wife at all. I knew that our children were going to be coming back home from their college break, so I had to hatch up a plan first. I planned to expose her in front of our children and see just how embarrassed she would be. Yes, I do not have a conscience in this regard. I plan to be as ruthless as she is, but first, I want to ask my dear Redditors what you all think. Do you all think it's better for me to confront Florence and let her know I know she's cheating, or it's better I just expose her in front of our kids? These are the two options I've been stuck with for the past few days. To be honest, living with my wife under my roof and sharing the same space with her has been very hard. I don't even care about her touch or laugh at her stupid jokes. I'm disgusted by every single thing she's been doing. I think this is why it's better to confront her and let her know that I know the truth. That way, she can stop pretending and acting like everything is all right when it's not. She's acting like a teenage girl who's love-struck. A woman who has 2 children and has been married for over 25 years should know better. If I expose her in front of my kids, I will not feel a single bit of guilt. I'll act nonchalantly the same way she acted nonchalantly when her criminal-looking lover groped her ass in front of people. If anyone knew me in that neighborhood, they'd think I'm the biggest fool to exist on this planet. What irks me more is the fact that she had the audacity to pretend like she loves me and is not cheating on me. If I did not know about her cheating, I'd have foolishly thought my wife was falling in love with me all over again, lol. So, my dear Redditors, please let me know what you think I should do. All your comments are very much appreciated, and I'd love nothing more than to reply to all of them if I have the chance. This is very important to me, guys. Please help me. Update. My dear Redditors, I see that this post has gotten a lot of recognition. Thank you all for your wonderful ideas and suggestions. I'm really thankful to you all. This experience has been traumatizing, but the funny comments of all the Redditors had me laughing out loud. I did not expect some of the names Florence is being called in the comments. Even her criminal boyfriend was not spared at all. I like that very much, lol. Well, it's time for me to give you guys an update. Most of you suggested that it's better I confronted my wife first before letting my children know. I thought about it a lot, and after some time, I believed that was the best option too. Some of you also said it's better I follow my wife to her lover's house and catch them red-handed before confronting her, so I'd have a lot of evidence to back up my claims. I mean, what better evidence than being caught in the act? I really liked the idea, so I decided to go with it. It took me time to know what my wife was up to because she started hiding to make her calls. I believe that she got suspicious and decided to hide when calling her lover. I did not let that stop me, though. It took time, but I was finally able to eavesdrop on her conversation with him. I found out they were planning to meet up at his friend's apartment. I was happy to hear that because I did not want to go back to that neighborhood again. The chances of them catching me the second time was very high. On the day of their planned date, my wife did something that surprised me. I was practically spooked at how confident she was when she stood in front of me and lied to my face. She told me she was going to get some gifts for our children that were going to be back in 2 weeks. I asked her if she was sure, and she said yes. She even asked me if I wanted to go with her to get the gifts. That was intentional on her part because she was very aware of the fact that I had to be at work that day. She knew I could not say yes, so that was why she asked. I pretended to be sad I could not follow her, then bade her goodbye. I did not go to work that day and already told one of my colleagues to cover for me. I did not follow my wife immediately because I checked her phone the previous day and knew exactly where she was going to meet up with her lover. I spent another hour hailing a taxi and going to the address I'd seen on her phone. When I got to the apartment, I was very angry. I didn't even know why I suddenly got angry all over again. The fact that my wife had the nerve to lie to me that morning was very disgusting. My dear Redditors, you needed to have seen how my veins were practically protruding on my neck. Who would have thought that a 50-year-old man like me would have to go around looking for his 49-year-old wife because he found out she's cheating on him with a man much younger than him? I felt embarrassed on my behalf as I made my way to the door of the apartment. I still remember the looks people were giving me because I spent a lot of time at the door, contemplating whether I was making the right decision or not. I stopped second-guessing myself when I heard the sounds that were coming out of the apartment. I could hear the disgusting moans and stifled screams, and it was just too much for me to stomach. I did not think twice before banging on the door. The moans stopped immediately, and then I could hear the tussle inside. At that point, they were struggling to get dressed. The criminal-looking guy even cussed and hissed. The fool had the audacity to tell Florence that whoever was at the door had to have come for important business, or else he would punch them in the face. The guy had the audacity to say that to a woman he was not even married to. Immediately, the door was unlocked. I had to hold in the punch that I wanted to land in the guy's face. He was in his boxer briefs and his hair was ruffled. Even a 14-year-old child could guess what they had going on before I came there. My dear Redditors, you cannot even imagine that the guy had the audacity to ask me what the fuck I wanted. I did not speak at first because I had to stare at his face and whole body just to imagine what had gotten into my wife. I had to ask myself what went wrong that she decided to shake our home because of the young guy who looked like he did not have his life figured out. I took a deep breath and asked the guy where my wife was. You all cannot imagine how nonchalant he looked even after I called Florence my wife. He leaned on the door and raised his brows. He even went as far as stroking his chin and eyeing me up and down. I was surprised when he said, "So you are the old man that does not know how to handle a woman." I was enraged. How could a boy I was practically capable of giving birth to ask me such a question? I had to control myself that day because I knew that it was not his fault. If he had the audacity to say that to me, then it was my wife who gave him the liberty to do so. She must have been saying degrading things about me to him. My dear Redditors, can you imagine that? When I found out my wife was cheating many weeks ago, I was heartbroken, but I never imagined that she'd go as far as saying awful things about me to her lover. Who does that? The funny part is that she told him I could not handle her. I feel disgusted. Maybe my wife is really a child in an adult body. I'm sorry for deviating, guys. I just had to use this medium to vent out the anger I felt after that stupid boy said those words to me without any hint of fear. After he said those words to me, I pushed him back into the apartment. He almost lost his footing because he was surprised and ended up on the couch. I searched around for my wife and found her struggling to put her bra on. You needed to see how messy her hair looked. She looked like a fucking whore. Yes, I said it. I called my wife a whore, and I'm not afraid to say it again. When I saw how dirty she looked, I could not help but lose the little respect I had for her. When our eyes met, I could see the embarrassment in them, but not once did I see a single trace of guilt in her eyes. She finally got her bra on, then raised her head up high like she had won a Nobel Prize. I shook my head in disgust and asked her, "Is this the gift you want to give our children when they get back?" My dear Redditors, my shameless wife shook her head and told me she could explain. I had to laugh immediately because I found it very funny. Every single person caught cheating seems to feel the need to explain. Explain what? Explain how you decided to open your legs for a man you're 20 years older than just because you wanted to cheat on your own husband? I called her a whore right there and then. Her little plaything had the audacity to tell me, "Don't you dare call her a plaything." I felt like snapping his tattooed head in half, but I didn't. Not because I didn't want to, but because I knew I would not win a fight with him. He is young and agile. I might not be old, but my bones are definitely not the same. I also didn't want Florence to get the idea that I was fighting for her. I would have been very stupid if I gave her that satisfaction of watching her plaything and her husband wrestling it out. She was a fucking fool, and I had to let her know she was not worth my time or strength. I left the apartment immediately because I'd seen exactly what I wanted to see. Thankfully, I did not feel that heartbroken that day. Maybe it was because I'd seen her with him many times before, or maybe it was because I already knew she had been cheating on me. My wife only came back home 2 hours later. Do you know what that means? She was not afraid to stay back and finish what they had started. That just shows how she has no fucking respect for our marriage. I was devastated to see her walk into the bedroom confidently. I stood up from the bed and asked her to get the fuck out of my house. She told me I was acting irrationally and that I needed to give her time to explain. I was not interested in listening to her explanation, and I made that clear to her. But she was relentless. She told me that even if I had not caught her cheating, she planned to let me know by herself. She said she was sorry for cheating on me, but she does not regret it. Yes, Redditors, she said that. The woman I've been married to for 25 fucking years had the audacity to look me in the eye and tell me she did not regret cheating on me. What's more disrespectful than that? It took all the self-control I had in me not to do something I ended up regretting. If I was in her shoes as a man and I looked into my wife's eyes and told her I didn't regret cheating on her, what would I be called? A liar, cheater, heartless man, blah, blah, blah. Yet, she did not hesitate to open her fucking mouth and say all those disrespectful words. Florence said she didn't cheat just to spite me and that she had her reasons for cheating. Don't they all? She said she wanted to feel alive and free again. She wanted the excitement and adrenaline of her youth and was not getting it from me, so she cheated. She told me that she felt older than her age many times in our marriage, and she hated the idea that we'd been married for 25 years and have been together for 30 years. Florence proceeded to say that she did not like the idea of being stuck with one man for the rest of her life. She needed to explore her life and do whatever she wanted to do with herself. You know what, guys? I've never really understood why people that cheat think they always have some sort of valid reason to do so. It's the most disrespectful thing ever. If you are tired of your partner and want to live freely, why don't you just let them know? Is it not better to break things off with them or get a divorce rather than lying to their face or cheating on them? Why do people always think it's okay to cheat and lie, then come up with the world's most useless excuses? My wife is one of those stupid people. I asked her why she did not let me know that she was tired of our marriage and wanted to feel young again. I asked her why she felt the need to cheat on me with a stupid young boy that spoke like a fool. I did not hold back that day. I cussed at her and called her names. I made sure she felt the heat of what she did to me. I even asked her if she had been cheating on me before our 25th wedding anniversary, and she said yes. That was when I lost it and started throwing things around. She practically blindsided me and made a fool out of me in front of all the people we loved. Do you know the worst part, Redditors? Florence was the one who was in charge of planning our anniversary. I left all the plans to her, and she was the one that executed everything. Can you imagine that she pretended to be so happy and in love with me? We danced around, cut cakes, and even said our vows again. How disgusting can a person be to do that when they were cheating on their partner? Florence said she didn't plan to cheat and that it just happened. She could not resist the temptation because she had longed for the youthful feeling and adrenaline for a long time. I got disgusted and tired of listening to her, so I sent her packing immediately. I practically threw her clothes out of the closet and pushed her out of the room. She tried asking me if she could stay the night, but I refused. I was not that foolish. After everything she said that day, I was sure that I wanted nothing to do with that woman again. That night, after I threw her out, I had to break all our wedding frames and throw them out of the house. I made sure I cleared every single trace of her in that house. I did not want any memories of her lying around my house. I spent hours thinking about what I wanted to do. I knew I did not want to stay married to her, but I did not want to divorce her. If I filed for divorce, I might be the one to part with some of my money. The court doesn't really care who cheated on who. The woman had an upper hand in the court, and that is a fact. I am not a rich man who has houses or cars around the globe, but I am not ready to give a dime to that scheming bitch. I'd rather die than let a single cent of my hard-earned money go to her. My children are coming back home in a few days, and I don't know what to do. I want to tell them their mother is a cheat. One is 21 and one is 19, so there will be no need to fight for custody. They are also in college, so there will be no reason to make schedules and decide where they spend the weekends. I don't know how to tell my children what has been going on. I don't even know if I should tell them at all. I'm stuck between not filing for a divorce and filing for a divorce. I'm also stuck with thinking of how to break the news to my children. I'm not the one who cheated, but I'm practically the one facing the consequences of someone else's actions. I need your help once again, my dear Redditors. My wife has left me between a rock and a hard place. There is practically no reasonable solution in my head right now because I am still in shock. I did not expect things to unfold this way after 30 years of knowing Florence. I honestly believed that we would be together for the rest of our lives. There are no words to describe the level of disappointment, shock, and anger I feel right now. I need the advice of my fellow Redditors now more than ever. Please help me get rid of this huge problem. Update. Whew! What a year it has been. I cannot believe that it's been exactly 1 year since I made this post. Time does really fly. I am beyond thankful to Reddit as a platform and the Redditors that make this platform a safe space for anyone and everyone. You all are always ready to help, no matter how complicated the situation is. It's also very comforting that you all share your own stories and experiences in the comments too. For someone like me who began to question why I was going through that predicament in my life, it felt good to see other people telling me I'm not alone. I cannot thank you all enough. I'm also sorry that it took me 1 long year to make an update to this post. It's been a crazy year, a year that changed every single thing I thought was part of my life. So my children eventually got back from college, and like most of you suggested, I told them what had been going on. My children were very shocked to hear everything that happened, considering the fact that they celebrated our anniversary with us. They sympathized with me and made me feel a lot better, to be honest. Florence was still their mother, and I did not guilt-trip them into seeing her as someone else. Our family was broken, but my children made me feel much more alive. They took me out to go see movies, and they even had cooking classes with me. Florence moved in with her lover, and the children visited them once in a while. I was very hurt, and it took me a lot of time to come around, but eventually I did. I have decided not to file for divorce because I do not want any legal battle at all. I don't want to be the first one to file for a divorce. I want Florence to file for divorce whenever she wants to. Thanks to my children, I started going on casual dates 3 months ago. They told me it was better I dated other people so I would not feel too lonely at home. I listened to them, and it was great. My first few dates did not really go anywhere substantial, but after some more dates, I met someone I was interested in. We've been dating for 1 month now, and it's been great. I plan on asking her to move in with me if we date for up to 1 year. I really like her, and it's cool that we are actually the same age. She has children too, and it's nice to have someone you share common interests with. Well, my dear Redditors, life has been good for the most part. I've been able to move past the ugly experience I had with my wife. She chose to cheat on me because she wanted to feel young, free, and sexy. Well, I hope she got what she wanted. I really don't care about her any longer. It's been a very enlightening year, but I'm most grateful for the EAP friends I made on Reddit. Your funny comments and outrageous ideas are beyond extraordinary. Some of you have the wildest imaginations ever. You all are the best. I'm looking forward to reading your own life experiences, positive, I hope, and just seeing where the journey of life takes us. What a ride it has been. It was not bump-free, but it was worth it.